I saw every aspect possible in dementia care that you can imagine. And I determined at that time that there had to be a change. I like to say you have to put a new show on the road where dementia care is concerned. And at the same time, I was doing a doctorate study. So I have a doctorate of management in organizational leadership. And I used that training to develop and create I call it the Transactional Dementia Intelligence business model of dementia care, which is the first business model that I've ever seen. As a result of that business model, I set actually the first standard, the new standard in dementia care is based on that model. And we call it for short TDI model. And it's changing the culture of dementia care and long-term care and home care even. It's affecting everything. Absolutely affecting everything.
We need to address this. We're not getting any younger. We have a huge aging population. So what are we going to do about it?
Yes, that's right. It's growing rapidly. And you and I, when we need to care, it probably won't be there unless we change what's existing now. That model they're using is obsolete.
Yeah. So sometimes
we're housing.
Go ahead.
I say warehousing people is just not acceptable.
No, not warehousing people. You know, when I was at my support group this morning, we were talking about different communities. I said, what really kills me is an assisted living will all of a sudden say, oh, we have a memory care unit. And the memory care unit is on the 3rd floor and everybody's locked down and no one has been trained in Alzheimer's or dementia.
So those units are that's a misnomer. It should be called a prison. Prison for dementia.
Yeah.
Yes, because it is. When you're locked down, you can't go out, and you're not treated properly, you're in prison.
Well, you know, not just are you in prison, the people that are caring for you are in prison.
The people you mean working?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the people working is because they don't have the right tools, and they feel whether they're in there or not, they still don't feel it doesn't matter whether it's a lockdown unit or even a skilled unit. People just don't have the tools. You know that 85% of people in assisted living and long-term care or skilled units are suffering with memory loss.
Yeah.
And yet the people working with them have no idea what to do when there's a crisis, and they wait for the crisis. And those crises, by the way, are all avoidable if you have a dementia coach responsible under my TDI program. You would have a dementia coach that would step right in and have the wherewithal, the education, both in coaching and dementia intelligence, to deal with any situation.
Yeah, just somebody that I can ask a question for. So I'm a CNA or whatever, and I'm working in a community. Well, I haven't really been trained in Alzheimer's dementia. Maybe I took a little course. They tell me a little bit about this, and then all of a sudden I'm in here and I'm suffering as much as they're suffering because I don't know how to help them.
Yes, and you're there because you want to help. You have the heart to help. With the dementia coach, one of the responsibilities is training, testing, and coaching. So that CNA, that same CNA you're referring to, would be absolutely well trained. There's nobody, and on top of that, under the TDI, the CNA works 6 hours only, a shift of 6 hours. So 2 shifts in a day of 6 hours, that makes up to 12 hours. So they'd have 2 sets of CNAs, but paid at 8 hours. They would get a pay for 8 hours for 6 hour pay because it's very hard work.
As they should.
And those people don't want to leave work. They're right at the door the next morning, and they want to stay there for as long as they can possibly work. That's how we treat them under the TDI. So that's a new standard in dementia care that people will get used to and are welcoming. So far, people are really excited about that.
Well, because we have to make some changes.
Absolutely, it can work. It's obsolete. Just like the old cars used to be. You had to crank them in the front. That was obsolete.
Exactly. Just like
do you think in Maine? Do you think Linda in Maine today with the big storm they're going to crank the cars?
No. We'll put in the VHS tape or whatever it might be. Well, they might in Maine. I don't know. Well, anyway. So
exactly.
So what moved you to make this change and to do the chorus? Just from what you saw?
Okay, would you please repeat your question?
So what moved you to make this change? For what you saw?
Yeah, so what I saw, what I experienced, I saw a lot of people not wanting to even say anything about the treatment their loved one was receiving because they were afraid of repercussions from that.
Yeah, exactly. If I say something, right. If I say something that if I say something and I complain, mom's not going to maybe get dessert.
Exactly. Or the other day, what I saw is a woman that was complaining, had dementia and everything, and the CNA that was giving her a shower decided to give her a cold shower to teach her a lesson, and that's what happened. So that's absolute abuse.
Yes.
So there could be neglect, abuse, and you don't want that. So I saw all that, and I even reported in some cases. I even fired a couple of doctors in some cases because my book says that I was a pack leader. Pack leader means simply the leader of the pack.
Right.
And when you go into assisted living or skilled nursing, you have a pack there. You have a whole bunch of people, the doctor, the nurses,
the team,
physical therapists, the CNAs. Well, you think it's a team, but you're still the pack leader as a family caregiver. So in the TDI, we actually train family caregivers who are willing to be trained as TDI care partners. They're on the floor. They're on the floor like with everybody else. And so can you imagine that woman that was screaming in the shower because she was getting a cold shower? Don't you think that a family caregiver would have heard that and could have interrupted that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I mean. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. I could see all the changes. I was acting as a dementia coach because I knew what to do. I had the education, had the experience, and I acted as a dementia coach. And everything went well while I was there.
Right.
So I said, geez, that's what we need. We need the dementia coach in every facility so that there is no conflict, nobody gets hurt, nobody gets gets so agitated that they get physical. And that's all going to stop.
And that all can stop because the person that's working there caring for your loved one doesn't want to be agitated and upset. We don't want our loved ones to be agitated and upset. And we can make these changes. And the biggest changes is through education.
Education and having the dementia coach. That TDI program is a licensed program to organizations, whether it's a home care business or even a day program.
Right.
An adult day program or a nursing home. So when they get our program, they get guidelines, and they're only licensed, and they're licensed as long as they observe the guidelines. And so it's not only education, there's a whole lot of things that go with it to assure that it is successful and it changes everything. The reputation goes up in the community. They don't have turnover, the burnout. We can even measure if a person is going to be close to burnout to turn that around so they can keep the staff. Well, you see that's all new technology we're introducing.
Yeah, which is so fabulous because you know how the turnover is. It's crazy. The burnout is crazy. Yes. And these are for people who are being paid to take care of your loved one. What is it like for the caregiver, the family caregiver?
Well, it's even worse because they're already done doing the caregiving when they get into assisted living. But if they're still at home, they need a lot of help too. I was talking to one yesterday that if he doesn't change his ways, it's a man taking care of his wife. If he doesn't change his ways, I think he will die before she does. Yeah. And so it's that serious. We need to help these people. And once they get into long-term care, especially with dementia, because they can live as long as 40 years. It depends on what sort of dementia they have. Yes.
Well, you know, there was a recent study, and 65% of the caregivers over the age of like 68 are dying before the person they're taking care of.
Oh, yes. It's crazy. It's very high.
It's crazy because...
It's very high because, well, you know why, Linda? I mean, who can work 24/7? Who can do that?
Right. Well, work 24/7 and not take care of yourself because I'm worried about is mom eating? Is mom getting enough sleep? Is mom going to the doctors? And even though my arm is killing me, I'm good. I'm good.
No, you ignore that. You ignore that. But, I've done the same thing. I mean, I think everybody that's been a caregiver can relate to that. So you put off your needs before the other person, and guess what? It catches up to you.
Yeah.
And I had to, I waited till my husband died, actually, to really take care of myself.
Yeah,
and,
I see that all the time.
It took me 2 years. Yeah, it took me 2 years to get everything done.
Yeah, I see that all the time. I do a lot of support groups, and many times the people in my support group, after their loved one passes, they still come back because they want to help others. But you just see the exhaustion and the relief at the same time.
Exactly. Now you know.
Yeah. So we're going to go to a couple of commercials, honey. So will you hang on and we'll come back and talk some more?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. So now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners. So you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Sean W. Scott has been practicing elder law and qualifying clients for Medicaid for over 30 years. While his practice is in all areas of estate planning, such as durable power of attorney, healthcare surrogates, and wills, he also prides himself on having a 100% accuracy rate on getting clients approved for Medicaid. Why Medicaid, you may ask? Do you want to pay up to $16,000 a month for a nursing home should the time come? Obviously, no one wants to have to endure this cost. So even though you may have planned well for retirement, the reality is things happen. Planning ahead is never too soon. You need to make sure your income and assets are protected so that you can take care of you and your loved ones. Florida law is very specific on how and what is protected and how to protect it. Give Sean a call. He can help. 727-539-0181. That's 727-539-0181.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwaysseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Yeah, I love my friends at Sunways. They'll really help you out if you're to the point where you're thinking about maybe your loved one needs to go in a community. You need to call them because they'll take you by the hand. And, this morning in my support group, somebody asked, when is the time that maybe your loved one should move into a community? And I told them, number one, when they're not safe. That's the first thing. And number two, when you're ready to jump off the bridge. And you're not safe. Yeah. Okay, Ethelle, we're back.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So I really want to talk about how TDI can help administrators.
Yes. Well, the first thing that the TDI will do is removes all the stress of caregiving where dementia cases or memory loss cases are concerned. And that's a big weight on their shoulders. That's something that maybe keeps them awake at night, how to deal with people. Normally, what they've done before, and I've seen that done when my husband was in their care, they actually use the drug restrictions or restraints using drugs to calm people down, which is unacceptable. It's illegal. It should never be done.
It's wrong.
Never. That's right. But a dementia coach now knows how to do that, so they can rely on that person. The other thing is that they increase their return on investment, because the turnover right now is atrocious. There's so many people leaving, and every time they hire someone, they train them. They have to advertise, train them, and hire them, learn on the job and all that, and then they quit. So for a nurse, it's very expensive to do that with, and then for CNAs, it's just like if they're a dime a dozen, and that's very expensive.
Well,
so they save on that end.
Those CNAs are your frontline workers. They are so important.
They're the ones that
they
do the
need
hard
to be
work.
treated better. They need to be paid more.
That's why they work 6 hours for 8 hour pay under the TDI.
That's what I love about that.
Yes.
Because it makes them feel appreciated for all the work they do.
Yes.
It's exhausting work.
Yes. And the dementia coach is on the organizational chart, so reports to the administrator, but also advises the administrator what is needed and what is working well and what's not. So that administrator now can function better, looks better in the community, does a better, better work for the organization, because usually they're not the owners.
Right.
So all in all, it's a much better deal. When you walk into a facility that has TDI, you're going to see family caregivers on the floor. You're going to be received and asked if you'd like a cup of tea or coffee. You're going to be like a visitor. I always say it's like going to be walking into the Hilton, instead of walking in and then being careful where you go and what you say for fear of retribution. So, no, this is going to be a welcome environment where you can actually help your loved one and be with your loved one to the end of their life, which you have the right to do.
As it should be. As it should be.
Think. I mean, you see the difference already?
Yeah, you know what? I see the difference when I go into different communities. I see the difference when I go into communities where their employees are trained. I see the difference in communities where they give a hoot about their staff. It makes a whole world of difference. And people that bring in programs like your program and other programs to educate and inspire is what we need to do.
Well, the program that I have is the first business model. The other programs hit and miss here and there, and they have a certain purpose, but none of them have a business model like I do. When a nurse or a CNA doesn't feel supported by whatever they may do, or may afraid to even walk into a room because they know that person is so agitated they may get hurt.
Right.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You should never work in a place where it's dangerous like that.
No.
And with the TDI, it's not dangerous because they have that person, the dementia coach, which you may call expert or well trained to deal with anything in real time. That's a big security thing.
Yeah. So how long does the program last? So give me a little bit more information for hopefully our administrators that are listening here today.
Yes. Well, the program is licensed for 1 year.
Okay.
The training for the coaches can take as little as 6 weeks, or as long as 6 months. It depends on the time they have to devote to it.
Okay.
There's some people that are absolutely trained already to go in, so that means there's no training, maybe 4 hours. So it could be as little as 4 hours, actually, if the person already has coaching and dementia intelligence, which I have seen people with that.
Yeah.
So I tell people, the companies, organizations, to give it 6 months, and within 6 months, and we supervise everything, within 6 months that should be rolling well. Within 12 months, they see a total difference in every aspect of their business. And they can renew the next year. Okay.
So explain to me how someone would get started doing this.
They would get to the International Caregivers Association website, which is icacares.com, icacares.com. And there's a page there for contact. There's a page for the TDI model. And get a hold of us. The first consultation is always free because, I have already refused some businesses because they did not have what it takes to be successful.
Yeah, I love that.
The TDI would not. Yeah, the TDI would not help them.
Right.
But if it's going to be something that helps them, I'll know, and I have a whole staff, so they'll know how to go through that and decide whether it's a good match and whether they're going to profit from this. We want them to profit from it, and we want the people that live there, that work there, the workforce, and the people that live there to see a difference. And we'll be able to say that. So the first consultation is free, and then usually there's a follow-up consultation and call, and that's when we talk about the agreement and what the conditions are, and we have documents to show them how it all unfolds and how you apply that program.
And if you would think someone would be interested, should they also get your book? Alzheimer's
we
Coaching?
can give them, yes, Alzheimer's Coaching is free. The second edition is free by just requesting it on our website. It's free on our website. And the third edition is going to be put on the website the end of this month, the 1st of February. And that will be for sale. And that simply adds the TDI model to the book and upgrades the book a little bit.
Yeah, because it might just give somebody... Go ahead.
No, the second edition is always free.
Okay, because I think it might just give somebody a little bit more of an idea, and let me look at it a little closer and see if this is something I might want to do.
Yes, because the book describes everything.
Yeah, and I think that just might make it a little clearer for people. And tell me about your other book that is in English, French, Spanish, and Arabic. How does that happen?
Oh, yes. Well, that was the very first thing I did, which is a primer, because even my husband's doctor didn't know what to tell us.
Right.
And so I wanted to tell people what tests you should ask the doctor to do, what the words meant, what the symptoms were of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, what to look for.
Yeah, so that's just and then some reading, the best reading available at the time. I put that in the back of the booklet.
Yeah.
But my next book is even more interesting. My next book is called The Gift of Dementia. And the subtitle is A Gift That Is Yet to Be Unwrapped. And that will be published next year.
So tell me a little bit more about that.
Well,
I think dementia can be a gift.
Of course it can be a gift. I can give you a few examples.
Okay.
My business manager, when his father was sick with dementia, he went in to help. He was in his 40s or 50s, but his father thought that him and his brother were still teenagers, and he said to them when they went out one night, "Now listen, boys, you've got to be in by 11 o'clock. You know that." So he said, I saw my father through his eyes when we were a teenager. I said, that's a gift.
Yeah.
That's a gift right there.
Yeah. You know, I remember.
And there's many gifts that every time I hear a story, I see the gift in the story.
I remember one time a woman, this is years ago, she came to a support group and she said to me, Alzheimer's saved my marriage. And I was like, excuse me? Because you don't really hear that. And she said,
I'll tell you.
Well, she said, my husband was always go, go, go. She said, every minute. He was go, go, go. Even when we were on vacation, he was go, go, go. She said, now he's like, hey, babe, what do you want to do? She said, Alzheimer's saved my marriage. Yeah.
Exactly. I say that too now. I say, not that it saved my marriage, but I say it was a gift for me when I heard the diagnosis, and I was very happy. And people say, well, how can you be happy? I said, I was happy because I'm a very nurturing person, and I knew that if my husband had Alzheimer's, I was going to be able to nurture him to the time that he died.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. He loved everything I did for him. He loved everything I brought to him. And every time I sang to him or I read to him, it was a gift.
Yeah, and you were lucky your experience with him. Because sometimes it's not as easy.
Well, that's because two things. There's some conditions that are very, very difficult. And there's some people that are not trained to deal with those circumstances or those conditions, and then it makes it very hard. Yeah. Otherwise, I would never say that. I would never say that any of these conditions are hard. When I went into the nursing home, for example, or even assisted living, I always had a chance to help someone and it was a pleasure. I always learned something. I always was able to help.
Well, I think basically a lot of it goes back to the person's basic personality, because I have a lot of caregivers that deal with their loved ones that are violent, that are angry, and that's a hard thing to turn around.
Well, I'd like to see those cases too, because sometimes the agitation starts with agitation. And if the unmet need is not discovered there, it goes further and they become violent. But the other side of that coin is I always ask, did you know that person when they were younger?
Okay.
And if when they were younger, they were always nasty. They were bullying people. They were nasty.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, guess what? Dementia is not going to take that away from them.
No. So you have to know who you're dealing with also.
Exactly. You have to know the person. Personality doesn't change.
No.
It's just the memory changes. Memory changes, personality does not.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Ethelle. I really appreciate you. I'm sure we're going to do some good stuff together in the future. Once again, how can our listeners find you?
They can find me on the internet. I'm also on LinkedIn. All they have to do is put my name, Ethelle Lord, ETHELLELORD. They can also look at icacares.com. That's the website. They are also able to call my office, if they wish like to call my office, at 769-9447 with area code 207-769-9447. And I'd be happy to take any calls, and especially if you're in business and you want to put a new show on the road, want to be ahead of every other competitor out there in the market, and there's plenty of them, please call me and I can help you.
Thank you so much, my friend. I'll put all the information in the description of the show so everybody will have it to look for. And let's talk soon. Oh, what's the last thing you want to tell my caregivers?
What is what?
What's the last piece of advice you have for my caregivers?
Oh, for your caregivers,
Yeah.
I'd say look for something joyful every day. There's always a gift waiting for you. If you just ask for it, it will be right in front of you. Please pick it up and enjoy it.
Thank you, my friend. Have a delicious day.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you too. So that's absolutely fabulous, because I think so much we need to train the people in the communities for them and our loved ones, because I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for a CNA or someone to be in a community and not have an education.
Yeah, but you usually get the people who can't get other jobs and they like to help people and they don't.
But they just
really
need to be
know how.
educated. So if you
Right.
educate them, and well, I love her model, work 6 hours and get paid for 8. I think that is really good for, because you know what? The people that have the heart for caregiving, because it's not
for everybody.
It's definitely not for me. I mean, I love people and I love caregiving, but I don't love changing someone else's diapers. I don't love bathing someone else. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And those people really have the heart for it. But their frustration, because they don't have any education,
They don't know how
has
to
to
do
be
it.
so hard. If you would give them the education, maybe they would stay longer.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll work there longer. Maybe they'll just be able to deal with the people that they're caring for.
I think, well, for me, and I still think it is, the hardest thing is when it's timed and they need to go into
A community.
and nobody will take them because they're violent.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do you do?
Well, I was lucky somebody needed to fill a bed, but I was turned down right and left. So he's too violent. Well, yes, so now I'm at home with him and he's too violent.
Yeah, and what are you supposed to do? You know
You
what?
call the police and then they correct him for
Right,
3
what does that
days,
do?
and then you get him back and he's
worse than he was.
Yeah. But
I
they
mean-
won't take him, and to me, it's still, when I think about it, is the hardest thing, because what do you do? Nobody wants to help you.
No, because they're not educated, and because they don't know what to do with them. Well, if they knew
Exactly.
what to do with them, if they knew how to handle someone who has violent tendencies or who's angry or whatever,
Mhm.
they'd be able to handle it.
Yeah, I remember when I had somebody come in at night finally so I could sleep, and he was being very difficult. And she goes, oh, you just have to jolly him out of it. Well, he turned on her and she ran out of the house and left me there.
Yeah. So what are you supposed to do?
With a knife in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah. And what
he
do you
says,
want to do?
I don't have
and then
to
you want to call the police? You want to have him arrested? You want to have him
Then you
Baker
call the
acted?
police and then they Baker Act him because what else are they going to do?
All right, but then they Baker Act him for 3 days. They lock him up. Nobody can see him. And now he's crazier than ever.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Where is that help?
This is all stuff we need to address. This is what people need to think about. You know,
that's the hardest when you have nobody that will help you.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, even some stuff that my daughter's been going through recently. You call this agency, you call this person, you call the police, and they still don't help you.
No.
Well, what do you
we can't help you until he kills you.
Yeah.
Then we'll jump right in.
Yeah, until something bad happens.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, hopefully, between this program and other programs and people having more awareness and listening about this, we'll be able to make some choices and some changes because it's not going away. Alzheimer's and dementia is not going away. Unfortunately, we haven't found, a cure or Parkinson's. Look how far cancer has come. We've found a lot of cures with that. Hopefully we will. But until that time, we need to deal with it. We have a huge aging population.
That's the whole thing. Everybody's living so much longer. So there is more dementia.
Well, you know what I said at the support group this morning? The whole story was you retired and you got 1 or 2 checks, and then you passed away. And I thought,
yeah,
maybe that wasn't so bad. I don't know.
Well, I still think they give you too many drugs to keep you alive anyway.
And they're just keeping you alive.
Exactly.
You're not thriving.
You're not living, no.
Right, you're not thriving.
No.
You're not having any chance of getting better.
No.
Well, who wants to just be alive?
Well, I always say, my cousin was just diagnosed with ALS, and God love her. She can't do anything. So that she's in a nursing home. She's just going to be 70 in February. She's in a nursing home. And the other day, her partner went to see her, and he said he walked into a nursing home type place, and there was loud noise. Well, he gets to her room, and it's her TV. He goes, Debbie, what had happened is they washed her hair, and when you get older, sometimes the water gets in it, and she has no use of anything, and it makes the wax so hard, it's like you
can't hear.
She was clogged on both ears. Couldn't hear a thing, and the nurses didn't do anything, and the TV, he said you could hear it at the front door. He doesn't hear so well. So anyway, they put oil in her ears and it just cleared them out. But they were just letting her turn the TV up.
Right, because that's why we have to pay more attention to why somebody's doing something.
But a lot of times they don't know because they're not with them, but John knew Debbie could hear.
Yeah, but think that you're a CNA or whatever, and you're working there, and it doesn't say anything on the chart that she can't hear.
Right.
And you're thinking, she just likes the TV on really loud.
Yeah, she's deaf. No.
She don't have her hearing aid in.
But I didn't know that when you got older, sometimes if the water got in it, they said it clogs it completely.
Oh, great. One more thing.
Nice to know.
Learn. Yeah, it is good.
I'm wearing earplugs.
So I have to tell you guys, I found out about a website this week. First of all, I had a meeting this week with the Falls Prevention Coalition, which I'm part of. And we're out there really trying very hard to prevent falls and to give education. So I talk about it. Falls Prevention talks about it. We do seminars about it. Sages Theater does a show about it. And the stats just came out for 2023, and falls have gone down. The number of falls in 2023 went up 212 people, but the population went up 20,000.
Yeah.
So they went down. And when they told me this on the call, I just started crying because how I feel about the fall. The fall can be the end. So I am so glad that people are listening and that people are paying attention because nobody wants to fall. Well, anyway, so there was a gal on this call, and she told us about an organization called findhelp.org. So you can go there and you can look for help with food, housing, utilities, transportation, financial assistance. It's so great. It's all in one area. So let's say you need some kind of meals. You can go there and you click. It goes right to their website. You fill out information, and they contact you. And I was looking at this one thing that's on there under food. It's called Lasagna Love. And it's a group of women. It's all over the United States that make lasagna for people. So you can actually go in and you could order a tray of lasagna. You'll get it like once a month.
Wow.
And they're just people there trying to help. But there are places there, I cannot pay my utility bill. I need help with this. It's absolutely amazing. So it's findhelp.org. So please go look at that because
That's
it's just, oh my God, I was so happy. Also, I want to announce that there will be a yoga class at Alexander Spine Center. Those are my wonderful chiropractors on Thursday, January 25th with Dr. Jade. So if you're interested, you can contact them. Also, I just found out about this last week. I announced it on last week's show. There is a new bereavement caregiver support group. So it is for caregivers whose loved ones have passed from Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's the first Friday of each month at 9 a.m. So I am starting a new section of my website where there'll be a calendar and everyone will be able to list all their events. Fabulous. So I think that would be absolutely fabulous. But right now we have to hear from our friends. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Yeah, and if you want to learn more about that, on Tuesday, February 6th at 2 p.m., Jen Moyer and I will be at the Preserve in Clearwater to talk to you about Superpatch because Superpatch reduces the risk of falling by 8 times. 8 times. So we're going to talk about fall prevention and what Superpatch can do for you. So if you're interested in coming, February 6th at 2 p.m. at the Preserve at Clearwater, you can call them at 727-735-6200 or M. Loack, M-L OWACK@solaraseniorliving.com. I'll put the information on the website. Come there, chat with us, because we want to prevent the fall and prevent the call. Also, Attorney Sean Scott has some seminars coming up in February 2nd at the Largo Library, February 6th at the Seminole Library, February 5th at the Seminole, 6th at the Palm Harbor, and February 20th at the William Hales Senior Activity Center. So I will put all that information. Yeah. So as I started saying before the break, I'm working with my webmaster, and I'm going to have a calendar on my website, which will probably be hopefully active by the second week in February. And it will have my support groups and my workshops and the conference on there, and everyone else's. So Morton Plant sends me great information, and St. Anthony's and Debbie Savage, and a lot of people that do great stuff. So I'm hoping to populate that calendar so caregivers can go there at any time and find a support group or workshop
when
to
they
go
need
to.
it.
Christine, there's so many more now, thank goodness. I mean, I think that calendar is going to populate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But we have to have somewhere where people can go and look for this information. And the more information I can gather, we can have it all in one spot. And what I will do is there'll be stipulations. So if someone has a monthly support group, they will have to renew it every 3 months on the calendar, because what things happen, things change. And the worst thing I can think of is a caregiver going to the website, finding a support group, and going there and showing up, and it's not in session anymore. Yeah. So we're going to take care of all that. So glad that you've been with us this week. Tune in next week for another fabulous show. So glad you're here. I know how fragile your time is, but I really appreciate you guys. You can find resources, and you can contact me at lindaburhans.com. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.